Well, last night the Derby fairies must have come by because today all these cars are done. Well, almost done. There is a new motor in this car. It's in there. It runs. Still doesn't run as good as I wanted it to, but it runs. Motor mounts are all connected, chain down, connected down there. Throttle cable, battery cable, shifter cable, starter, alternator, everything is connected in this car. Even got my rad loop hoses in it. The Buick has a front tire on it, has a strut on it, has everything fixed. So this car will be ran this weekend. This car will be ran this weekend. But this one here is in for a little bit of a surprise. It is going to be figure-eighted and then mini smashed. So I need to get the e-brakes working and I need to get rear struts in this because this is actually what happened. Ripped both struts off it. But the Derby fairies, oh, look how rotted that is. Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that before the Derby. Anyway, it's all apart. This one here needs a little bit of work, but it's going to be going good. To fix this car, I actually went and bought another car. I don't see any point in taking my cars apart because they're full, complete running cars. But what I do see a point is taking this car apart. Now the rear struts are bent on this one, but I got a way to fix that. So I'll show you guys how I fix that. But we got a lot of parts we got to save out of this. We got all of our new spindles back here. We got this spindle, which is in good shape. This strut's bent a bit as well. We got the front strut so that we can fix Cannibal, which is still just over there around the corner. The header I got to return, stuff like that. But anyway, there's plenty of stuff that we need to do to this car. Plus, I can throw a little bit of junk inside of this car, so nothing like putting a little bit of extra junk in your trunk, right? But no, we're just going to start tearing this thing apart. It's getting there pretty much now, and I'm pretty happy. I just got to come out here with the torch and cut the back end out a bit. But the motor that was in this car is gone. It's garbage. I kept the transmission, but that's about all I kept out of this whole car. So we got a new strut into it because one of the struts was broken or bent. So we got a new strut. We just got to get the two new rear struts in. We have to get the e-brake working. And one thing I did forget about this, if you guys take a look down at my seatbelt buckle, it's broken. It actually broke right before I went in the ring. So I just used a hammer and hammered my seatbelt into that buckle, and then I couldn't get it back out. So I have to change that seatbelt buckle because I need a seatbelt, and the wife needs a seatbelt. So, well, that didn't take long. We've got everything that we want out of this car. Some of the struts were bent beyond repair, so all the really bent struts and rotted struts are just in here to go to scrap. But we've saved one back one front one, two front axles. I've taken the starter off because I'll tell you a secret about these starters, but maybe I'll save that for a different video. I saved all the plugs and wires, mostly electrical I cut out. Just that stuff. The radiator, the motor mount, the header, all that fun stuff. We saved it, but this thing's going to go into scrap. The wife just called me and told me she wants ribs for dinner, so I got to head to Shelburne to go get the ribs, so I might as well take this thing into the scrapyard and then go to Shelburne because they're only about 8 minutes apart from each other. But, oh well. This car's been sitting at my buddy's house for 4 months. I had it for 1 day and it's ready for scrap. So let's get this thing in, get it crushed, and come back and fix the cars for this weekend. Well, she's dropped off. Now let's go home and rebuild that car. So I got this car all put back together, and in a period of 2 days I put a brand new motor into it, and all the wiring, new computer, new transmission. I think I put 1 new axle, 1 new strut in the front, 2 new struts in the rear. It was a lot of work I've done to this, and I'm pretty happy. I've even fixed the e-brake on one side of it. This side here snapped off completely. But this car here hopefully is going to be ran this weekend. The wife is going to figure 8 it, and a woman's only figure 8 heat. And then if it survives, I get to mini smash it. If it doesn't, then I don't get to mini smash. So hopefully it survives, but this is what we've done for the last 2 years now going to this show. The wife figure 8s, and if it survives, I mini smash. Oh, everything's done back together pretty good, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with it. Let's get this thing started up, drove it out of the shop, and then we'll see what's next on it. It's starting to look like one of those banger racing cars with the fender pushed in like that. I like it. Let's drive this thing out. Excuse all that racket. One of my neighbors has decided to turn his car on and crank the radio. So I think he's asleep listening to that. But I did tell you guys that I would come to Cannibal when I have time. Well, guess what time it is? It's Cannibal time. I've been watching a lot of videos on how I drive, and I really like the way I drive a stock car. When it's a stock car that I really don't like, for example, in Barrie, I drove the wheels off that car in Barrie. I didn't like the car. I had no connection to it. I pretty much just sent it every time I went to hit somebody. If there was a driver door, I'd obviously put on the brakes and stuff, but I didn't want to. I didn't really care if I wrecked it. Yep. No, was there a big hole? I think this tire is garbage. But I came to terms that I really liked that car, so I didn't really want it to die. Sorry, I really didn't like that car, so I really didn't care if it died. Now with Cannibal, it's a little bit different. I actually really like this car. I have a connection with it. I've brought this car up from nothing. I've built it. I've made it to what it is. I have a connection to this crappy car. And I don't want to kill it. I enjoy spending time with it. I enjoy driving it. I just don't enjoy the way I drive it. I drive it like I care about it. And that sucks. How am I going to fix this? Do I stop caring? Do I only run stock cars and not care? I put a lot of time into this car. It's part of me now. It's got my cage, it's got my shifter. I don't know, put a lot of time into it, and I just feel like this car might be part of me now. I hate the paint job. I still hate the paint job. But now that it's getting smashed, it doesn't look so bad. But I've never seen a strut do this before. Never really seen a strut do this before. You guys want to see what this thing did? It's pretty bad. But it's a quick fix. It's just an axle and a strut, and this thing's ready to run again. Maybe put some air in the back tires. Not sure about that, but let's take a look at this. The strut has bent intensely bad. This is like this, and it should be like this, straight up and down. So I think I've destroyed this strut. I've seen struts bend in, I've seen struts bend out, I've seen struts bend different ways, but I have never seen it do that. So I've got Cannibal put back together pretty much as best as I can. The bumper, I tried twisting, I tried pulling, I couldn't really do a whole lot. I just ended up putting another plate to help hold the bumper on. That's all I really did. Oh, motor mounts are still holding up pretty good in this thing. I'm pretty surprised. But all the sheet metal's starting to go. The frame's starting to bend pretty hard here. Not how my normal cars do, but this car does have a little bit more welding than most of my average cars. But as you can see, she's clearly starting to go up. Just dropped a motor mount behind me. But she's looking pretty good. I ended up having to build another rim, but I'm out of argon. So just took my Sawzall, put a whole bunch of slits in the rim, drilled my new holes, pulled it on, and now it's a center boring hub. If you guys ever want to make rims fit, I haven't got a hold of the township boys yet, and I'm going to try to do that later on today. But honestly, look at all the 9-wire that I have holding this stuff together back here. The rear subframe's bent, the rear frame's bent. I've tried to straighten the trailing arms as best as I can. All the tires are facing the right way. She runs and drives half decent. But I know I said this last time, but look at that. I even put a new strut into it. She's still so far back. I'm going to probably get one more run out of this thing. And then I need to take it apart because I need everything for my Rockton car. I need the cage. I need everything to go to Rockton. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff done to this car that's starting to come back and bite me. And I don't know. It's holding up pretty good, I think. And that's all I can say about that. She's holding up pretty good. She's running great. She's getting a little worn and the head gasket's coming out of it. I know it is because I've gone so long without water in the thing now, but that's expected. Car's just about junk though. Just about junk. But I'm overly happy. This will be my 4th run coming onto this car now. The doors haven't blown out. But see, that's the difference here. Because of the cage I'm allowed to run in this car, you see how the cage comes all the way back to the speaker deck, the doors don't want to blow out. And usually when a Camry door goes, the pillar goes, and then the speaker deck goes. And the car's pretty much garbage after that. So the cage does a lot to keep the car together. And I'm not sure about 2019, but I think the company that allows me to run this cage is no longer going to allow me to run this cage. So it is such a nice cage that I can probably just make it shorter because I think they're going to limit to how far I can go away from the gas tank. So if I just bring this up and then shorten these up, it should be okay, but I don't know. Oh well, she's fixed. She's ready to go again. She's just kind of bandaged back together as best as I can. I still need to bend the back end down, but I don't know. This is just one of those cars that's surprising me. And like I said earlier, I think the reason it's lasted so long is because I'm being so docile when it comes to driving this thing most of the time. And I think it's just because I like the car. I've become attached to this hunk of junk. So hopefully she'll be derby this weekend, and I'll have some videos up for you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.